Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second part of the second episode of the Teen Talk Show. In the first part, we talked about the underlying causes behind bullying, and in this second part, we'll continue with the stories, learn how to combat bullying, and how bullies can reform and mend their ways. Watch the first part if you haven't, and let's get on with the show.
I mean, there's a popular group I feel like in every school, and I don't know why everyone treats them like the mean girls, and like there's a Regina George, and like everyone's scared. And one of the other things that you talked about was fear of getting bullied yourself,
Yeah.
which is like a huge thing. Like you're scared to speak up, but the fact is, if you speak up, the bullies would not come back to you. I'll share like a personal experience. I've known my whole life I'm overweight, and like people have told me multiple times. I mean, I don't know why they don't see ki I realize it, but whatever.
Yeah.
I have always been like a router. So all of those who don't know what a router is in our school, people who use school transport buses are called routers. So I was a router. Famous kids or the kids like who are like older than you used to sit on the last seats of the bus because that's just the cool place of the bus. Cool kids sit there, right?
Yeah.
I remember there was a group who used to talk shit about us, and they used to do it very intentionally so we could hear, right? They would body shame us and like fat shame us and all that. They used to do it, and they used to do it discreetly and try to act as if they don't know that we can hear them. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And I it like really affected my personality for a few years. Like this was same around the time you with your thing happened. I was in like 7th 8th grade, that stage of my life, right? So those 2 years, so I have always been a dancer, right? I love dancing. I have like a few degrees in Kathak, so I enjoy dancing, and it's one of my passions. I stopped dancing because I got so insecure. One day I thought ki yaar, it's enough is enough. I have done nothing wrong. So I just stood up on my seat like you usually do to talk to your friends who are sitting behind you, right?
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
screamed at the person. I literally ranted for 2 minutes straight. And it's that day and this day, no one in that bus, even though I changed routes, but they were still in school, have ever said anything to me, that group especially, even though now they're pass outs. But yeah, I feel like you need to find the courage to speak up or get some help so you can find that courage if you don't have it already. That is, I think, all it takes.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, you have to speak up for yourself because no one else will. You're your only lifeline right now. If you don't speak up for yourself, then you're going to be a pushover your entire life, and you don't want that. You don't deserve that. You didn't do anything wrong. If someone's bullying you, they're the ones at fault, okay? It's their problem, so you tell them to shut the fuck up and mind their own business.
Pratik, do you have any instance to add?
Okay, for the instance part, okay. So I remember one incident. It was in eighth grade also. So wow, eighth grade seems to be the cursed grade. Okay, so I remember. So there were these group guys in Lego. There were three people, and they were really annoying. I will say they were verbally bullying, and during the departure time, right? They used to push me around and all. And one time, I went to the teacher, and teacher being a teacher really helped me, which she did not. She's like, just ignore. I'll report
Oh,
to
wow.
the authorities, and let me tell you,
Wow.
nothing can happen. Good job, teacher. You did well. So that was a really good experience. 10 out of 10.
Okay, so why do you think that when such things happen, students don't approach their teachers?
So I feel one of the reasons is you cannot connect with all the teachers the same. The thing is, your teachers are an authoritative figure, right? I mean, and you're not confident enough, or you don't think that they will understand you. I can't just go up to students and say, ki, you can come to me. I mean, I can tell you guys, ki, come to me, but when you're facing some issue, but I don't think you'd like that. I'm pretty sure ki you would prefer talking to a dear friend or your parents or whoever you're close to. Not everyone has that kind of a bond with their teachers. On top of that, I believe that not all teachers have the training to deal with these kind of issues. We need
Mhm.
to also hold workshops so the teachers can understand how to help their students better. I think it's a two-way thing. We need to work on sensitizing students, but sensitizing teachers is also a very important aspect.
I think कि the other people will think, if you approach the teacher, they'll think he's such a coward that he can't deal with the situation.
That's what they call them. Snitches.
Yeah.
Snitches, actually.
So basically, what you're saying is that when a kid approaches the teacher about something like this, the friends call them snitches, right? And no one wants that. No one wants to be socially marginalized because that's what happens. When you start going up to teachers and complaining about stuff like this, your friends start excluding you from the group because they feel that, hey, you can't even take a joke.
How much influence do these orientations and classes and workshops have?
Okay, the thing about these workshops is that you're not just there to educate the victims, but you're also there to prevent the future bullies or the at risk people.
Because, like, one thing I've noticed is that whenever we go for such events or orientations, there's always a bunch of kids who are paying attention because they're genuinely interested in what's going on, like me, because I'm a nerd. But anyway, the point is that usually most of the kids are just sitting at the back and not paying attention. They don't really care what's going on.
I believe that you need to converse with them, not go from the point of view of spreading awareness. So when you're studying psychology, there's one thing that you do, like you take case studies, right?
Yes.
You talk to people, you interview people, and one of the few things that you have to do is form there's like rapport formation. So like the
Yeah.
person understands you, so you need to understand and form a bond with your like your co-classmates or whoever, your juniors. You need to make them realize that this is a very safe space and they need to be comfortable with you. Only when they're comfortable with you, they would listen to you. I can go and listen, I can go and talk to this random stranger on the street, but she they would not be interested in what I'm saying. And even if they are, they'll forget it after like a few minutes. But when you're talking to someone that you know, person actually genuinely cares about me, you would actually listen to them. So rather than going from the point of view of telling them, oh, this is bullying, this is cyberbullying, and this, if this happens to you, then you're being bullied. Yes, all of that generic information is important, but I believe that you should, rather than doing that, talk to them as friends.
Mhm.
So you can actually build that blanket of confidence and like comfortable like environment.
Okay.
10 to 12th graders, you cannot go to them and be like, do this kind of activity, because to them, to most of them, it's a wastage of time. Let's be honest, our education system is such that they don't allow students to live a happy long life. So it's just like I've mentioned it like multiple times, we need to work bottom up. छोटे बच्चों से बात करो, because they are easy to mold, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They would listen, they would take you seriously, and they would like very easily, even if they have some issue, they would ask you out, and they won't be afraid to ask you anything.
True.
Okay, so what role do you think families play in this whole bully and victim dynamic? I mean, the families of the bully and the person being bullied. I mean, do you think it's the parents who should, like, make sure their kid is not the person that's bullying others? Or is it the kids who need to sensitize their parents? Or how can, like, the parents make sure that their kid is not the person who's bullying others or being mean to others? And what signs can they look out for if their kid is the one being bullied?
It really depends on the kind of relationship you have with your parents. A few kids do not like their parents about school. I am the exact opposite. I would tell my mom the stupidest of things that happen in school. But
Yes.
in a very generic perspective, I feel like every parent does teach their kids to be nice to others. All they can do is really try to talk to their kids about what's wrong with them.
Okay, so parents should ensure that they themselves are approachable, that if the kid admits something, so they don't go to an extreme extent. So parents should ensure that they first listen to the complete story, right, before taking any extreme step. So the next time also the kid feels comfortable to share, and don't try to extract a lot of information at once. Give the child his time, and then build that bond.
What do you think can be done to build that bond?
You have to take that time out to talk to your kids, because like, yeah, we living in a metropolitan city, and even if you're not, your parents are working, they're busy all the time. If your one of your parent is not working, they're probably helping out with cooking or cleaning, especially during the pandemic. A lot of parents are now going out. Apne school mein bhi we did something which was family circle time. It was like an activity for all the students to sit with their parents every day or maybe every week, to just talk to them. I think that is the only way a better bond can be formed in between.
Yeah, I want to bring up 2 points from this. Firstly, that yeah, talking to your parents is very important, but more importantly, my question is, say there's a person who does not have healthy relationship with their parents. Maybe it's because of the parents, or the person's just, they're a teenager. They don't want to talk to their problems. Like, they don't think the parents would understand. Because I know people, I personally know people who are scared to share things with their parents because they know their parents are super conservative and super like, strict, and they would punish them even if it's not their fault. And basically, they know that if I tell my mom and dad that this guy did this to me, then they will cut off my social media and they'll keep me
Yeah.
locked up at home. And so I'll not tell them and suffer in silence, or tell my friends. And then such people tend to reach out to their friends and other people who cannot give you the right advice. They are just as lost as you are. There are very few people who you could actually approach who will give you the right advice other than your parents. Because let's be honest, other than your parents, no one really cares about you as much as they do. I mean,
True.
your friends will leave at some point. Everyone can leave, but your parents will love you. And a lot of people don't have parents, but a lot of people have single parents, and they don't want to stress their household. So, what do you think they can do?
So I think at this stage is where like the work of school or your teachers comes into being. Like, having a school counselor is just fabulous. If you have a school counselor, you can absolutely go to her and approach her, because she is professionally trained to help you out. If you don't have a counselor in your school, you can reach out to one teacher who you think is nice and can help you out. I mean, you know which teacher you can approach. I think this is the only things you can do. Like, you were very right, Jasmine. I mean, like, yes, your friends would give you good moral support and motivation, but we're teenagers, yeah. We're just as confused, and we don't really know life as well as like your parents or your teachers or even your school counselor would. So I think if not parents, then approach a teacher or the counselor or a counselor.
Internet has been internet is filled with strangers, no doubt. But internet has also helped me make friends who can talk to any point of time, barring the time zone difference. But internet also has its good side and helps you discover people who might be going through the same thing. For instance, there's Reddit, right? Then you can share your own experience, and people will be there to help you.
You can learn from other people's experiences.
Yes, exactly. And there's no one judging you because you can be anonymous as well.
Yeah. But I think that can turn toxic really quick.
But you really have to be careful how you maintain this relationship with this online friend, because either it can turn out to be really sweet like PewDiePie and Mazia, or it can turn out to be something really bad and toxic. If you're online, then there's a lot of organizations that you can reach out to, especially youth organizations, because these people have experience in helping others, and they're also in touch with professional psychologists and psychiatrists who can guide you for free, and they're way more reliable. Yeah, they're there on every social media site, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever it is that you use. And if you actually want some decent advice, I'd insist that instead of reaching out to a friend or, in fact, like a stranger online, you reach out to these organizations, because one is that they definitely have experience and they are more trustworthy and reliable. And second, they're in touch with professionals. So if you wish to speak to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, they can get you to talk to them pro bono, meaning that it's completely free. You don't have to pay for anything. These organizations have an understanding with these doctors or specialists, so you won't have to pay anything. And these people are a lot more trustworthy and reliable than some stranger you'd meet online. You can text them, you can call them, you can have a video call, whatever method you prefer. So it's totally at your convenience.
So, as an outsider or a stranger or someone who's not part of the situation, how can you help the person, like the person being bullied or the bully themselves?
I would say it doesn't take like a lot of time and effort to join an NGO, because all these NGOs, like we talked about previously, are online, and they all workshops which you can always contribute to. Other than that, you can rather than going and helping someone out who you don't know, I'm sure that you have some friends, some family members that also might need help. I'm gonna quote over here, why like charity starts at home. Why don't you help them out first? Rather than looking for someone else, just imagine if every person started helping out their friends in their family. I don't think there'd be need for for that person going out anywhere else.
Pratik?
In hindsight, it's easy to say, ki, oh, just stand up and go head on with the bully, but that usually is not going to happen, you know. So
Yeah.
what you can do is you can just give the teacher a heads up, and teacher will take action, and the teacher who understands. So you give them a heads up, and teacher will also start to notice ki if something's happening to that person.
Okay, so the last topic I want to bring up for today is about reformation, right? Bullies who are trying to reform, like people who have bullied in the past and now they've realized their mistake and they're trying to change. So, do you think that people make it hard for such people to change? And, like, what do you think the society's notions are on this, and what kind of impact do they have on such people?
That really depends on person to person, Jasmine. I think there are a few people who would appreciate like the changes that the particular person is trying to make and even help them out, but I would not say that there won't be any backlash. So for example, if the person has bullied someone or has bullied a few people, I don't think that they would suddenly warm up to that guy or girl or whoever that person is. It would take time. So I think this is a due process which would take time.
I wanted to add on something. I'll be quick. So the cancel. The case about Jenna Marbles, right? She recently quit YouTube because something that happened way in the past got just brought up, and then she was getting a lot of hate for it, and then she was forced to quit YouTube.
Cancel
Right?
culture.
The cancel culture, yes. So for the bullying thing, I think do not become the bully yourself.
Oh, yeah. Go on, sorry. Go on.
So don't be the bully yourself. If you're trying to bring a change, don't be aggressive towards them. Instead, understand that they did something wrong in the past, but lead them to a change. Help them mend their old ways.
So I remember the same thing happened with the boys' locker room incident. Like one of the guys who was in the group, and he did post stuff there. I don't know how many of you know about this, but he did post stuff there, and he was guilty of whatever he was accused of. Right? He received a phone call from one of his friends or like someone of the sort, and that person like called him out and gave him real good thrashing about it. Now what happened was that this guy who was in the group, he felt really guilty for what he did because he realized what he had done was wrong and he should not have done that, right? He felt guilty and he felt terrible and he realized it was his mistake and he wanted to fix it. But now the problem was that he was getting so much hate from people that he felt like he had done something terrible that could not be fixed. I mean it got so bad. Like he was driven to the point of suicide. The guy, he started to cry and he had a knife literally on his wrist, and that's when the person on the call with him at that time told him that, hey, you did something wrong. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but like, you did something wrong. Face the consequences of it, learn from it, and then move on. We have this whole thing going around about the cancel culture. Like, if someone makes a mistake, you just exclude them and then you give them so much hatred. You don't give that person a chance to change, a chance to reform, even if that person realizes their mistake.
The cancel culture to me does not make sense, because if you would cancel everyone for all the mistakes they've made, they would never get better. And if you're canceling everyone, we would not progress towards a better society. We need to give people the chance to change for the better. It is only then that we will have a better environment to live in.
What final message do you want to give to the listeners? Ananya?
Well, I'd say that I know you were afraid, and I know it is really scary to stand up to someone or take some kind of an action. But believe me, when you do, it will only work for your betterment. So have the courage, try to build up the courage, talk to people, don't keep it inside yourself. Talk to anyone you feel comfortable talking to about this issue with. And for someone who's trying to change, you're doing good. I know you made your mistakes, and the fact that you've come to terms with it is the biggest thing one can do. And it's a long journey, But if you have the will and determination, you will be definitely able to succeed, I think.
Okay, so don't be afraid to ask for help. It's the bravest thing you are going to be doing, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And for the for the change bullies, right? For the change bullies, go apologize to your victim, quote unquote victim.
My final message would be, again, if you're trying to reform, you're doing a really great job. That's honestly very brave of you. Also, if you do apologize to the person and they don't forgive you immediately, you deserve it. It's fine. They won't forgive you. They might never forgive you till they're on their deathbed, but that's okay. Just don't do this from this moment on. And the last thing I want to say is for people in general, just be kind to each other. Don't hurt other people's feelings for no reason at all. Heck, don't ever hurt other people. Be kind. If you make a mistake, apologize, move on. Humans are a lot more forgiving than you think. Okay, and the world isn't against you. The odds are not always stacked up against you. You can always change. You can always overcome whatever problem this is. Talk it out and just be kind to yourself. Most importantly, be kind to yourself.
Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. It was an amazing experience, and a lot of good opinions were brought to the table. Thank you, Ananya, for tuning in.
Thank you for having me.
And also, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Teen Talk Show Official to get the latest updates. We upload every week with a new topic. Follow us on whichever platform you're using, because we are available at almost every platform. And yeah, that will be it. See you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay hydrated.
Yes, and be kind to yourself.